This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Oh, you have to turn it, get it up higher.
She has a master's degree and a certificate, so.
Oh,
Come on, you can't take that. I don't have it in
The meeting is coming to order here. Counselor Peak does not have the minutes yet, and that's fine. He forgot to send them. We'll do them in the June 2nd meeting, next meeting. The mayor is not here. Public speak, I'm going to do 15 minutes of public speak. We'll do it now. If you'd like to speak, I see only 2 people on the call. If you want to speak, raise your hand, please. You see anybody? Can I make you a co-host?
Let me join the meeting.
Okay. Seeing no one, we're going to go on with the meeting.
Should we just make sure it's not a view thing?
Yeah, just 1 second.
Oh, I got 2 people here. What do you mean by views?
Oh, I don't know.
Omar, I'm just going to make you a co-host, so if you see someone who wants to join, you can help me out.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know what's happening with what's going on, but I want to make sure, Hadel and Jess, this is important to me. I want you all to know that in my 26 years on the council, this has never been at this kind of last-minute kind of emotional problem that we're having with the schools versus the city. But I want to make it sure that I make statements tonight and on Wednesday that are accurate. Number 1, it is too late for the mayor to amend her budget. She can't come up with a new budget because it has to be advertised and all of that. She can't do that tomorrow. Am I correct in that statement?
Yes, you are. You
That's
can
all.
do it.
You don't have to explain. That's all I want to make sure the councilors know. It's too late for that.
Yes.
We've reached that point.
Yes.
Secondly, if the council chooses to cut any section of the budget, 100,000 here, 100,000 there, that doesn't mean that money goes to the schools or can be. That means that money is gone forever because you're required to balance those cuts with a revenue cut because expenses go down, so revenue must go down to balance it. I'm correct?
Yes.
If you need to make that cut, it seems to me, again, I've never had to deal with this, you'd have to do a property tax change. Am I correct? Because you're not going to give back money to the government, the cherry sheet money.
Yeah.
Am I correct? You'd have to balance it somehow by changing the levy?
Not by the levy. I will have, in this case, because we are reaching the max levy limit, what I will do is I will reduce the local receipt, estimated local receipt. That's the 3rd category on revenue.
And what is that, like excise taxes and things like that? Depending on how much it is.
And it's 1.6.
So you wouldn't have to touch the property taxes. That's important
No.
to me.
No.
Because if we lost the property, the base would go down and
Yes,
it'd be over.
yes, we
So
can do that.
we do have a place to cut.
Yes.
But those excise taxes and everything, they're
Excise
gone for
tax,
good.
yes.
We can't get them back until next year.
Yes.
But we don't get more next year. We only get what we're allowed next year.
Yes, so what's going to happen, the local receipt includes all the meals tax, rooms tax, motor vehicle penalties, water, sewer, no, not on this one, fees, rentals, and then we have cemetery rental revenue, recreation revenue, license and permits. Those are the categories I have to reduce the money from.
Okay, so you could reduce it. But my concern was property tax. But once
Property
you reduce
taxes, no.
once you reduce the excise taxes and all those other,
I
they're
have
gone.
to balance it, yes.
You have to balance it.
Yes.
So I wanted to make it clear to the council that because we cut the budget, we're cutting the budget because we're cutting that department's budget because we think they don't need the money, not so much because we think it can go to another department.
Yes, you
It
can't
can't.
increase, no, you cannot increase.
The only way to fix this issue, in my mind, is after July 1 with a deal and supplemental appropriations. We can't fix it by cutting the budget or fix it by not voting yes to the budget. We can't fix the problem. I'm just talking about facts on how the budget is processed. So the only way we can move forward is for the council to accept this budget or not, and then go to supplemental appropriations next fiscal year. We can't amend the budget now. We can cut it, but if we cut it, it doesn't go right to the other budgets. I want to make sure. 'Cause
So there are three things in this whole question. If you cut the budget, you can't vote on 15.
you
I
have to come back
I
with
have
a
to come
balanced
with
budget.
a balanced budget. Second, if one of the department is not it's reduced, then we have to anticipate that whoever the department not getting the money will be coming back for appropriation. And if it has to do with school, and school needs more money, then they also have to come back with supplemental appropriation.
If we cut schools further, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, but that, besides that, if we cut another element of the budget.
Yes.
I think what I want, the misinformation out there is if we cut the budget and it suddenly can be available to the other departments, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
But if we say no to the budget, then the question is that what is the solution? We have to have a budget in place by June 30th.
If we
That
don't have a
would be the
budget in place
question.
by July 1st, the government shuts down,
Yes.
which has happened at the federal level. So I see your face. Let's not do that. Tom.
Don't.
I just wanted to say, I've been involved in these talks back and forth. I've been in this room or in this building a good deal over the last week. And to my knowledge, no one's talking about making any cuts.
I don't know.
I mean, I know it's worth talking about these hypotheticals, but just before we go too far down there, that's not what
I'm glad to hear that.
what was on the table, what was being discussed, and what I hope will continue to be discussed is the idea of an agreement about what next fiscal year is going to look like, about how we're going to address any potential gaps that are going to come up, combined with potentially a resolution on our side and potentially the school committee side as well, stating that whatever is in that agreement, we're going to hold
The parties.
to. As of last night, I believe we were very close. There was some new information that was introduced this morning. I don't think we're as close as we are. I haven't given up. I think that, I'll keep working until the last minute.
I think all we can do is to just thank you for your effort, and you and President Gomez.
Don't thank me yet.
Well, I know that.
What I'm saying is, I just want to make this clear. I'm still hopeful that through enough dialogue we can reach a conclusion that everyone can live with. I was hoping to have that by now, but stuff happens and we're not there. In terms of tonight, I'm not looking to cut everything. Everything's deeply reasonable. I will be abstaining just because I need to understand this stuff in the context of a broader agreement, which hasn't been reached yet. I'm very much hoping that we can reach something and I can enthusiastically vote yes for this at our next meeting. So
Okay.
that's where I am. I'm very much, I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm not trying to cause drama. I'm very much hoping that we're going to be something, but until I can reach that deal, I don't feel like I can form actually a complete vision or a complete opinion on this.
Okay. I just brought all that up. You got it? I brought all that up just to make sure we're clear on how the process works, especially for Brad and Connie. You've not been through this. I've not been through this to this extent. But we've had a couple of times in the past where budgets were thought to be cut. They were actually cut at the night of the meeting where we were voting on it, and obviously we had to make it clear to everyone that means a new meeting where we rebalance the budget. I just wanted everybody to know the process. Mayor, you weren't here, and I skipped over Mayor Communications. I know you're working as hard as you can to get a deal, Tom said. Do you want to say anything right now as we move forward with our votes this evening?
I would just ask the elected officials in this room, but also on the school committee, to take very seriously what I sent out this afternoon about my concerns. around the school department, and that we need to know what money is there and how it's spent before moves out.
Personally, I don't feel that's unreasonable. I mean, there's nothing to hide. Fiscal accountability is something we all want, and the school department's budget is 18 point what million dollars. That's 36% of the budget. I don't think it's unreasonable to find out if the mayor's concerns are valid. Maybe they're not, but that's just me. I'm hoping that with some time off after July 1, we can get this done. I'm optimistic. Okay? I know the council will make resolutions after July 1. I'm happy to support that too. And whatever, I just want us to move forward. So with that said, does anybody have any questions of Hadel or Jess as we move forward, especially you, Brad and Connie, on what I've just brought up? No?
I don't have a question. I mean, I think I will say I feel like as my first time around with this, I feel deeply disappointed on both sides of this situation. I understand that budgets we're talking about millions of dollars. We're talking about the fiscal health of not just this department, but the city. And, I have a lot of faith in people to kind of work out the challenges that they see, etc. And I feel more could have possibly been done. Again, I'm not pointing the finger at either side. I think it's joint responsibility, because I think the people who in this particular situation are impacted are certainly the kids who go to our school and their mental health and their kind of educational success, and also teachers, right? I think there's a lot of uncertainty around jobs, etc., and I think that that's a really frightening place to be given our current kind of state of the world and kind of what's happening financially within the country. So I'm just stating my general disappointment.
I understand that completely. Brad, anything before I go into much?
No, kind of echoing what Councilor Denham said. Yes, this is business and there's money that needs to be sorted out. We're afforded the luxury to vote on this next week and enjoy our summer. Meanwhile, there are families and educators who are going to be emotionally taxed throughout the entire summer after coming off of 2 years of pandemic learning. And I am ashamed in all of the leadership in this city that this has come to this. This is not how I imagined my first year being a city councilor going. But it is what it is, and I've been clear how I feel about this issue. I know the public knows how I feel, and nothing has changed going forward, and that's a really regrettable situation to be in. I don't know what else there is to say.
Before we start voting, I know that Tom, you've stated already you're not prepared to vote, but I just don't want to, I don't feel we have teachers, we have people in the education department that are concerned because of the uncertainty of that budget. I don't want to broaden that to the entire government by saying we're not recommending passing anything this evening. We may not want to pass the education budget. That's what people may want to do because you're not comfortable with that budget. But to say that everyone, all the other departments are going to be uncomfortable wondering if by July 1 they'll all be laid off. I mean, I hate to say that dramatically, and I hope that we don't ever get there, but that might be in people's minds if we as a finance committee decide that every one of these sections won't be voted on this evening. So I don't know where I am going to vote yes to everything because I believe that's on us. We've been presented by a budget by the mayor. To say also this, and everybody has their own take on it, if the city council votes no to a budget, it's on the city council. The mayor presented a budget. We may not like it, some of us, but if we say no to it, it's on the city council. They can't go back and say, oh, it's the mayor's fault. No, we voted no. So that's why I want to be cautious about voting no to any section in this budget. And I don't want to say no to the education department. I want them to get their money now, and then hopefully, through cooler heads, there can be an agreement, and supplementals can happen next year, as early as possible. So the things that you bring up are there. I do feel that that can happen. We need cooler heads. But I don't want to also add to the uncomfortableness that maybe the educators are having now to every other department and every other government employee. So I'm concerned about not recommending any of these. So I'm hoping we do. So let's start with general government. General government funds a number of areas, just for the public's sake. City council, the mayor's office, planning, auditor, treasurer, tax collector. What else? What else is in there, Omar? Tax collector.
Sorry, I missed
The number of, most of the sub-departments of general government. Planning, I mentioned planning. So,
Here's the list.
you are wonderful.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She is great. The treasurer, I didn't forget you, Jess, sorry. The city attorney, the human resource department, the city clerk's office, the elections, planning, building operations, licensing board. So there's a lot of places in general government. I would like to offer the following, any discussion on that before I offer to have someone make a motion. And make the motion in the positive, even if you're going to abstain.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
So I asked this finance committee to recommend to the full council a sum of $2,334,946.59 for the various departments listed under Section 1 General Government. And that amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor. Water, sewer, and enterprise, $212,677.47. $2,500 for the parking fund, and cannabis stabilization, $23,316. Would someone make a motion to recommend that to the full council?
So moved. Second.
Hadel? I should have asked this before the motion, but we're allowed to ask. Can you explain to our new councilors what these chargebacks, like for water, sewer, parking fund, et cetera, we're going to see these on various motions.
Yes. So that's an enterprise fund. Enterprise fund is like a self-business entity within the city of Easthampton. So if we treat them as a separate business, they would need to hire HR director, treasurer, auditor, and all these other services for retirement and all the Medicare, all these benefits. So what we do is share all these services with another fund other than the general fund. So what they do, there is an agreement between Board of Public Works, DPW, Enterprise Fund, and General Fund Government, where they agreed upon on their charges, which they kind of reimburse us. So this is coming from the Enterprise Fund to the General Fund. That's why we do not need to raise and appropriate this much money. But in reality, we pay upfront the full amount.
Do you guys understand that the enterprise fund is charged for the services the city provides? And that formula is created by the DOR. There's a formula for this.
No, there is an agreement, signed agreement between
signed
Board
agreement.
of Public Works and City of Easthampton.
All right, and these other ones are just where we're taking money from to fund this.
So
Parking fund, cannabis stabilization.
Cannabis stabilization is, we are doing, this is for planning department salary, where we are gradually building that money into the general fund. So 3 years from now, it's not a big a big jump to the general fund.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Discussion. Hearing none. Counselor Peak.
Abstain.
Counselor Denham.
Abstain.
Counselor Riss says yes. It will be presented to the full council that we have no recommendation. So on this, where it says as recommended by the City Council Finance Committee, the final motions must be removed. Okay? You must remove the words City Council Finance Committee.
Oh, okay. This is the template which was used last year.
I understand that, but the Finance Committee is not making a recommendation this year, Hadel.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
At least to this one.
Oh.
Yes, the
Got it.
council just vote 1 yes, 2 abstentions, so with no recommendation.
Oh, so just leave it as at mayor and council. I see. Sorry.
As recommended by the mayor.
Yeah.
I'll just make a report, and Councilor Denham and Councilor Peak can make their comments, but it's not really a minority vote because they didn't vote no, they just voted, they didn't vote.
Sure, and again, I'm very hopeful that by that time we've reached an agreement and I can enthusiastically endorse this.
Okay, let's just go through these then.
Okay.
I recommend for public safety, which funds the police department, fire department, crossing guards, detention, dispatch, fire, ambulance, inspection services, and animal control. I need a motion to recommend to the full council a sum of $6,761,666.49 for the various departments listed under Section 2 Public Safety, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriation as recommended by the mayor.
Yep.
Discussion. Or could someone make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Discussion. Councilor Peak.
Abstain.
Councilor Denham.
Abstain.
Councilor Riss says yes. Section 3, schools. School department is $17,889,577.60. Make a recommendation to the full council for the various departments listed under Section 3, schools, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report as amended be considered specific appropriations, as recommended by the mayor.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak.
Abstain.
Mr. Denham.
Abstain.
Councilor Riss says yes. Section 4, Public Works. To recommend to the full council the sum of $1,915,538.97 for the various departments listed under Section 4 Public Works. The amount listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor. Water and Sewer Enterprise, $458,813.39. Sale of lots, $2,500. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak.
Abstain.
Councilor Denham.
Abstain.
Councilor Riss says yes. Section 5, Human Services. To recommend to the full council the sum of $746,706.35 for the various departments listed under Section 5, Human Services, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations as recommended by the mayor and the city council, as recommended by the mayor. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Councilor Peak?
Abstain.
Councilor Denham?
Abstain.
Councilor Riss says yes. I move that the city vote to raise and appropriate, I recommend the Finance Committee to recommend to the full council the sum of $642,197 for the various departments listed under Culture and Recreation, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations with the following amount to be transferred, as recommended by the mayor.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak,
Abstain.
Councilor Denham,
Abstain.
Councilor Riss says. I need to say something about debt and interest. We have to pay this. Can't default on our debt. I ask for a motion to recommend to the full council the sum of $4,734,555.01 for the various departments listed under Section 7, debt and interest, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred or raised as recommended by the mayor and the city council finance subcommittee. Water and sewer enterprise, forget the city council finance subcommittee. Tom. Water and sewer enterprise, $394,405.01. Debt exclusion taxation to be reduced by reserves for amortization, $3,310, and tax rate stabilization, $150,000. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak,
Abstain.
Councilor Dunn,
Abstain.
Councilor Riss says yes. Community preservation is not funded by the general fund. It is its own entity. I realize we're making a political point, but I'd ask you not to do it to the Community Preservation Act. I'd like to make a recommendation that the sum of $785,000 for the various departments listed under Section 9 Community Preservation and the amount listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the total amount to be raised and appropriated from the Community Preservation Fund, as recommended by the mayor.
Just point of order. We skipped unclassified.
Oh, well, can we make that motion? I'll go back.
Yeah, sure, totally.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak,
You make an okay point, so aye.
Councilor Dunn,
Aye.
Councilor Riss says aye. Thank you.
Question,
Yes?
do I leave as with these, city council?
You can leave Finance Committee for Community Preservation.
Yes.
Unclassified, recommend we appropriate the sum of $9,934,943 for the various departments listed under Section 8 Employee Benefits, and that the amounts listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor. 660 Water Sewer Enterprise, $660,777.16. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak,
Abstain.
Councilor Dunham, Councilor Riss says yes. Hey, Tom, you have these, right? I sent these to you.
I got them right here.
All right, the last one is enterprise. Again, this is a separate entity. It's not funded by the general fund. It is funded by its own water and sewer rates, just for your information. I would ask that we move to recommend to the full council the sum of $2,796,752.63 for the various departments listed under Section 10 Enterprise, and the amount listed in the mayor's printed report, unless amended, be considered specific appropriations, with the following amounts to be transferred as recommended by the mayor. Water Sewer Enterprise, $2,796,752.63. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilor Peak,
Aye.
Councilor Riss, Councilor Dunham,
Aye.
Councilor Riss says aye. Okay, so we have 2 recommendations and that are positive, and 8 that have no recommendation whatsoever. Let's hope that we can get past this. Is there anything else to discuss tonight?
Not that I'm aware
Make a motion to adjourn.
of. So moved.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. Councilor Peak,
Aye.
Councilor Dunham,
Aye.
Councilor Riss says aye. I'm stopping the recording.
And our next meeting's tomorrow, right?
No, Monday.
Monday.
Sorry about that.
I shut the meeting and it says rejoin.
Thank you for turning that on.
Yeah, I guess you have to get up high to get it to see it. It didn't turn off.